Am I audible or not? Can anyone confirm?
Yeah, we are. You are audible. But
Okay.
what is like a transaction is like?
Yeah, in MuleSoft we have transactions. Okay. So anyone know like what is transaction in MuleSoft?
Anything, any request goes from like like suppose if you are HTTP requester listener, if you send a request and it will process at the database level and it will return the response. That is we call it as a transaction.
Okay, forgot about this. So you know what is transaction in banking application, or you can say in banking system?
Yes. Usually, like user will call like suppose if I wanted to query for my balance, user will request for send a query and will get a response. How much will be?
Not this transaction, money transaction.
Yeah.
So how money transaction work in banking?
Usually, like the transactions happens in like either like in person or using an ATM or you can do online through mobile. Like these are the different ways of doing transaction. So basically, like if it is like a ATM, like you have a like already card reader and you can have a pin available, then you can make a transaction. That is through like if you are already authorized and you are authorized user. Otherwise, if it is a, like a online, then you need to have a like you already should be registered and approved registered in their bank website or like a database. Then you have to give your credential, username, login, and then again a third party message or a thing like with the PIN number like and then you put the PIN number and again the OTP. Then usually you'll receive the response. So
Yeah, all these are process, but how transaction work in banking service? So for example, I want to transfer money. Okay, I want to do some transaction. So
that is
there should be two participant here. One is sender, another one is receiver. Okay. Let's say I want to do transfer to, I am user A, I want to transfer to user B. So first I will initiate the transaction. Okay. I will enter the amount. I will enter the receiver details, and then I will submit the transaction. Once I will submit the transaction, first amount will be deducted from my account, and at the same time amount will be added to receiver account. Okay, if due to any reason, if it's not delivered to receiver account, then again that amount will be reverted back to my account. Let's say receiver account detail is not correct, or receiver doesn't exist, receiver bank server is down. In that case, what will happen? That amount will be reverted back into my account. Correct?
yes.
Yeah. So this process in MuleSoft, like same way in MuleSoft also we have capability. If we are doing two like write operation, if due to any reason two or more, not only two, if we are doing two or more write operation. So here also like in bank transaction also, first write operation what we are doing, we are deducting amount from sender. That is the first write. And second write, we are crediting that amount into receiver account. So if we have two or more write operation involved, okay, and if any of them fail, then what we want to do, we want to revert back the transaction. Means use like use, let's assume this banking one only first. If amount is deducted from my account and receiver hasn't received due to any reason. Bank server is down, that detail is incorrect. So what should happen? That amount should be deducted in my account or that should be credited back? Obviously that should be credited back. So same way in Mulesoft also we have that capability. If multiple write operation are involved and due to any reason any one write operation will fail, then all the previous write operation will be rolled back. Okay. So this particular process happen in Mulesoft, and there are few connectors involved in this particular process. Not this transaction will not be supported by all the connectors. Only limited connector will support, and how it will support all those kind of discussion we will do. Okay. So whenever we discuss about transaction, so that particular connector support this ACID property. Okay, which is if you have heard about database ACID property, which is very similar to this ACID property. Okay, so definitely database connector will support this transaction, and this concept came from there only. Okay, so whenever we are talking about this transaction, okay, so there will be two-phase commit involved there. Okay, so now you will say what is two-phase commit? Anyone has idea what is two-phase commit? ACID property, hope everyone know this ACID property. So two-phase commit, what happened? So in two-phase commit, we have two commit involved. First commit will be with partial transaction. Let's say we have two database write operation or two JMS queue write operation. So it both of them will support two-phase commit. So how this two-phase commit will work? So whenever we will commit, whenever we will write in database, then we will do first commit. So let's say we completed write in first database, we did commit 1. In second database also we completed write operation, we will do commit 1. In third database also we will do commit, so we do commit 1. Okay, now in this particular transaction we have three database operation involved, or let's say fourth one is JMS queue. So we are writing in JMS queue, and JMS queue write operation like publish operation successfully completed. So here also we will do commit 1. Now once all the connector which all are involved in this particular transaction has successfully completed their transaction, then we will do commit 2. Okay, and once commit 2 will be completed, you can't roll back. Okay, you can roll back until you have completed commit 1. Okay, if any of this operation, like as I mentioned, 4 operation, 3 database write and 4th JMS queue write. If any of these will fail in their commit 1, then all the commit will be rollback. Okay, and once this second commit will completed, means all the operation involved in this particular transaction has successfully completed, then only we will do commit 2. So for this, we have one commitment, you can say transaction manager. Okay, so whatever connector involved in transaction, so for those connector, transaction manager will be there, and who will take care of all this. How many commits are completed? Do I need to roll back or not? So those things will be controlled and managed by transaction manager. Okay, so if you want to see, let me open JDeveloper. So here what we have three operation, two insert and one update. Okay, and let's say we have select also. So first tell me anyone can tell me this select operation will participate in transaction or not. You can think logically, like if this insert will fail, do we need to revert the select operation?
It's a read operation. We don't care, right?
Yes, correct. So only where we are updating data, okay, we are changing data, those operations only will involve or participate in transaction. Here we are just doing read operation. No matter after this read, this all failed, it's not creating any impact on data. Okay, so this read operation will not participate in transaction, but these all are write operation. Either we are inserting or we are updating. Okay, so whenever we have write or update operation in database, it will support transaction. As I mentioned, so there will be one transaction manager who will manage and control this transaction. Okay. Now in transaction, as I mentioned, there will be two fetch commit. So this transaction manager will manage all those things, two fetch commit and everything. Okay. So whenever like they have built this connector, they have like designed transaction manager and everything. And you can see here in property, we have transaction action. And we have three operation here. Always join, join if possible, not supported. So everything has their meaning and we will discuss in some time what and on which scenario we should select this particular transaction manager, transaction action. Okay. And once it will participate in transaction, automatically transaction manager will start managing those transactions. Okay. So here you can see we have three write operations. So all these three will participate in transaction. If due to any reason this insert is successful and this insert got failed, this update got failed, then automatically this insert will be rolled back. If due to any reason like these two are successful and this third one failed, then automatically these two will be rolled back. Whatever update will happen and whatever insert will happen, that will fail.
Ravi, what did you do to put them in the transaction?
Yes, so here you can see inside advanced, we have not supported means this will not be involved in transaction. Always join means this will participate in transaction. Okay, so for each operation, you need to go and you need to select always join.
All right, okay. And this is one commit or two commit?
Whenever it will participate in transaction, it will go with two fetch commit.
Two phase commit, okay.
Okay, so first commit, let's say this insert is successful, it will do first commit. This update is successful, it will do first commit. This insert is successful, it will do first commit. Now, once all these three who are involved in transaction will complete their first commit, then transaction manager will do commit 2. If commit 2 is successful, then you will not able to roll back. You will able to roll back until you have completed commit 1 and any of the operation involved in transaction got failed. Okay, So transaction progress through a prepare and commit phase across all participants of the two-phase commit transaction. The goal is to guarantee all the separate operation completed all at once. Okay. So here, what they are trying to in two-phase commit, what they are trying to achieve. First, individual operation completed at once, and then it will go for second. Okay. So in term of yeah. In Mulesoft or any integration technology, how we term this transaction. So whenever they will say about transaction, so there will be two kind of transaction, XA transaction, non-XA transaction. Okay, so non-XA transaction means that particular operation will not support transaction. And if that operation support XA transaction means that will be involved in transaction. Okay, so whenever someone means mostly they will ask about the like in interview or certification exam also there will be definitely two questions related to this transaction. Okay, so they will term XA transaction, non-XA transaction. Non-XA transaction means not involved in transaction. XA transaction means involved in transaction. Okay, so this like yeah, as I mentioned, this transaction manager will control or manage everything. Okay. So here what all phase are involved? Prepare, rollback or commit. Okay. Now whenever like we are talking about XA transaction, so for each operation, these all are conditions are there. Okay. So once first condition is there, requires remote communication to each participating system, required each participating system to support two-phase commit. Okay, locks each participating system for the duration of the transaction. Okay, so this is very important point. Okay, let's say you are involved in this transaction, like you are doing transaction, and at the same time, same like someone will update your database. Okay, so in that case, what happened? There will be data inconsistency. So what this transaction manager will do when you will involve that particular operation or particular table in the transaction, during the transaction it will log that particular table. You will not able to not table, it will log that particular record. Okay, so at that particular time from any other mule application you will not able to update that particular record, since that record will be logged by this particular transaction manager. Okay, so whenever you are going to apply this XA transaction you need to think about this also. Everyone clear with this point or not? This point is very important. Okay, so hope everyone understood this, but yeah, in short, like if you are participating in transaction and you are operating on some set of record, when you will start the transaction, that record will be logged by our transaction manager. None of the other application will able to update those records. Okay. Okay. Other possible option we have like Saga's pattern. Okay. So we have only limited connectors which will support this transaction. Okay. Now, if that particular connector doesn't support the transaction, then how you will perform the transaction? Let's say you have Salesforce, you have like SAP connector. We have many other connector which doesn't support transaction, but there also you need consistency. Okay, so how you will like how we will support their transaction? So we have to follow the sagas pattern. Okay, so we need to handle those rollback activity manually in term of like whenever like second operation will fail, it will go to error handler, and inside error handler you need to revert back the initial transaction. Let's say you have inserted any data in Salesforce. Okay, and in second operation you are writing that particular data in some other system, and due to some reason it got failed. Then what you need to do, you need to revert back the data from the Salesforce what you inserted in first. So how you will do that, since Salesforce doesn't support this XA transaction? So you have to do manually and you have to follow this sagas pattern. So what will happen? Whenever error will come, it will go to error handler, and inside error handler, you need to call again Salesforce operation with delete operation. So what you inserted in first, you need to delete in error handling. Okay. So for that, we have this sagas pattern. So we'll show you one diagram also. Okay. So in other places, like in other integration technology, we use term XCA and non-XCA. But in Mulesoft, it say like you will heard about local transaction also. So local transaction is nothing but it's a non-XCA. So in Mulesoft, like we say, for XCA transaction, we use term global transaction. And for non-XCA transaction, we use term as a local transaction. And this is the again another condition, like supported connector must be configured to use transaction. Okay. Now how you will identify those connector will like have this capability or not? So whenever you will drag and drop, go to advanced option, and see that particular sub connector has this transactional action or not. Let's say I'm going to Salesforce. Okay. For this, I will go to advanced, and here you can't see any transaction of. Okay, but here you can see in advanced we have transactional action. Okay, so if you want to check, you can drag and drop and you can check we have transactional action in that particular connector or not. If not, then that connector will not support XA transaction or global transaction. It will support local or non-XA transaction. So XA transaction need XA capable transaction manager. So by default, this transaction manager will be there with database connector. Okay. Now here we have list of connector which support XA transaction. So first one is JMS. Okay. So similar to JMS, IBM MQ. Okay. Which also support sorry XA transaction. So at the very beginning, I mentioned like what all operation will support, that also will matter. Okay, it's not like if that connector is supporting, then all operation will support XA. So in case of JMS, publish and consume both will support XA transaction. Same way in VM, publish and consume both will support XA transaction. Okay, in database all operation, let me see. I'm not sure like read operation select will support XA. Yes, select also involved in transaction. But what is the advantage here? If next operation will fail, even if next operation fail, we don't need to revert back the select query. Okay, like here what I can see, select will also involve in transaction, but I think that is like not required. Even if next update or insert will fail, then what is the point of reverting back this select operation? Okay, for this I will check, but as per my understanding, this one is not required. And even if you will exclude this select operation from transaction, it will not create any impact. And hope everyone can can correlate this thing, why we don't need transaction in select operation. Okay, so this one is like transaction type as I mentioned, like this one is non-XA, this one is XA. So in non-XA, receive and send message to only one resources. So here, yeah, this is another difference. Like in case of non-XA transaction, only one resource will be involved. But in XA transaction, more than one resource will be involved. In case of this non-XA transaction, you can't roll back the operation, but yeah, in case of XA transaction, if there will be any error, then you will roll back the all the completed transaction. And then for XA transaction, connector must be XA enabled and it use two phase commit. Non-XA will use one phase commit. Performance wise relative to XA, performance is better. Can anyone tell me reason for this? Why they are saying this non-XA transaction performance will be better than XA transaction? Here what we are doing once we will complete that particular transaction, done. No need to monitor or manage anything. In case of non-XA, once you completed that particular transaction, so that's done. You don't need to do further operation or further thing on top of that. Okay, but in case of XA transaction, you have multiple transaction manager will be involved and they will lock that particular database. In case of single resource transaction, you are not locking that database also. Once you complete the transaction, that's it. So that's why performance wise, non-XA will be better. But if you will say reliability wise, which is more reliable, then definitely your XA transaction will be more reliable. Okay, now coming to this transaction log. So you will able to see transaction log inside this Mule home. Then Mule, you need to go to app name, application name. Then there will be one log file, Q transaction log. Okay, let me see if I can check. No, I don't have local server. So I will not able to, but in this particular location, you will able to see transaction log status. Okay. So it has capability till 50,000 record in this particular file. Okay. So what all things it will consist: begin, commit, rollback, and isolation detail. All those detail it will contain. And then again, our transaction manager will have their own log, which will contain this BTM, XE, and local transaction detail. Okay. Then next, we have seen like participating in transaction, how we will means ask that particular connector to participate in transaction. So always join. So if you will select here, we have seen we have three options: always join, join if possible, not supported. Okay, if you will select always join, then this three connector always participate in ongoing transaction. Okay, and throw exception if no ongoing transaction. If you will select this always join, begin or join, begin or join, or something else is there. Join if possible. Join if possible. Participate in on the ongoing transaction. Do not start a new transaction if no ongoing transaction. Okay, means before this particular transaction, before this particular operation, if transaction is already started, then only it will join the transaction. If no transaction started, then they will not join in transaction. So this part, everyone clear or not? This part is very like critical. So let's say here we have three operation. This three operation. So for this, I created not supported. For this, I created join if possible. For this also, join if possible. Now, can anyone tell me like this two will be participate in transaction or not? Second and third. Anyone has idea? So here we have selected join if possible. So when it will join in transaction, these two will join in transaction if any transaction started in earlier phases. Okay, so here this one just remove for now. Here what we did, in case of transaction, we have given not supported, so it will not involve in transaction. So before these two operation, there is no transaction. So next two operation, this two operation will not be involved in transaction. This two will not be involved in transaction since this is not initiating the transaction. But if you will change here, if you will go and if you will change here, always join transaction, then this two will also join the transaction since before this two, one transaction is started by this operation.
So Ravi, I think that's the reason you have transaction for select. Let's say you start it and then you have an insert. And if you put the second one at join if possible, so
Yeah,
then this
that's
one
correct.
maybe that could
Yes,
be the
yes,
reason, right?
yes, yes, correct. Okay, so if you are selecting this join if possible, then before this operation, there will be other operation which will participate in transaction. Okay. And what about if we will put join if possible in first also? Then can anyone tell me these three will participate in transaction or not? Everyone getting this or not? This is very simple, but I'm not getting any answer. So if we will put this also join if possible, but before this we don't have any operation which is initiating the transaction. So none of these will participate in transaction. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So next thing we have discussed about saga pattern. Okay. So like there are multiple operations which or connector which is not support this XA transaction. So in that case, how we will manage transaction there? So let's say we have one Salesforce operation, or yeah, we have one Salesforce operation where we are writing some record or creating some record in Salesforce, but later phase while connecting with other system, it's failing. Okay. So in that case, that record should not be in Salesforce also. If until unless all the transaction, like all the transaction will not be completed, then here also we have expectation like all transaction all previous transactions should be reverted. Okay. So in that case, like what will happen? We need to handle those things manually. So for this, we have this saga pattern. Okay. So here you can see one example. Here we are creating order service, then we are creating payment service, and then we are creating delivery service. Okay. So order management, go to order service, successfully order management done. Okay. Now, due to any reason, if there will be failure in order management, then means this order service is not created. Okay. So if it is not created, then we are not going to do further processing. So simply we will send error back. Okay. But this one is successful. Okay. This order service is successful. This order got created. And when it went for payment service, if it is successful, then this one is fine. But if due to any reason this payment service is failure, this will be failed. So what will happen in this case? This order got created, but payment got failed. So in that case, what will happen? This call will go rollback order management. This call will go here and this will revert this data. Okay, we have to do it like then we need to manually handle it manually. Oh, sorry, not manually. Means we have to go to error handler, and in that error handler, what order we have created here, we will delete that order. Okay, if this will fail, then we will go here. we will delete the order. Same way, after this payment service, if this is successful, then it will go to delivery service. Okay. If this particular service is successful, then all are completed and our transaction is done. If due to any reason, if it will fail, then we have to call this rollback. You have to call this rollback. Everyone clear with this?
Yeah, Ravi, it's clear.
Okay, so this is all about the transaction. And here key points you need to remember this, like how you will configure the transaction, always join, not supported, and if possible, then join. And second thing, you need to understand what all connector and what all operations support this XCA transaction. And mostly like when you will have like what I can say, some kind of transactional related data operation or data processing, at that time you need to think about this XA transaction. Okay. And mostly like when you will have 2 3 operation involved, and if any of them will fail, then you have to revert the previous one. In that case, you need to think about this transaction. Let's say we have only one insert operation. If that is failed, then no need to think about that. If it is failed, then we will do reprocessing. But if you have 2 3 operation involved, two are successful and third are fail, third one is fail. In that case, you need to think about this XA transaction. So I have given one banking example at the very beginning. Let's say you have you are transferring amount from one account to another account. So first you will do select operation to read how much amount he has in each bank account. Okay, let's say 50,000 is there in his bank account and he want to transfer 20,000. So first we will do read operation. We will see, okay, 50,000 is there. Then we will do update operation. We will update that 50,000 to 30,000 as he want to transfer 20,000. Okay. So this update will be first, and then second update will be there in sender receiver account. So let's say in his account 1 lakh is there. So 1,20,000 will be updated there. Now, if due to any reason this last update will fail, then automatically this second one where we have deducted 20,000, that will be rolled back. So again, the amount will be 50,000. Okay. So in this kind of scenario, like whenever you will find, you must need to roll back previous transaction. If the if end-to-end transaction will not be completed, then you should configure this exit transaction. Okay, fine then. So we are good with our today's session. If anyone has any query in transaction part, so you can ask.
Ravi, we shared our emails. So are you going to give us access to the repo?
Okay, yeah, video access yesterday I have given. Yeah, repo.
Video access is fine, but the repo access,
Yes, yes, this also I will give today.
sure. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, fine then. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.